I think it's time. Time to call Mark, the Red Cornish Ranger, home. Who are you? And what universe are you from? Believe it or not, I'm from here, Universe 20. And I'm Mark, the Red Cornish Ranger. Just not the one you know. This next part is gonna get complicated. Tales of the Ranger Council, Episode 7, New and the Old. In the Dimensional Command Center at Ranger Council HQ in Universe 20, a portal cracked open and Mark, the Red Cornish Ranger, strode out. Mark, hey, thanks for coming back so quick, Wes greeted him. No problem, Wes. So, why did you call me back? Mark inquired. Easier if I show you, said Wes. They headed up a few levels and stopped outside an interview room. This is why I called you here, Wes explained. Mark looked through the window and sees an older version of himself. Well, at least I keep my hair, he joked. He's not a future version of you, Wes clarified. Different dimension? Asked Mark. No. He's from Universe 20. His quantum signature matches ours, Wes added. Okay, says Mark, thoroughly confused. He better explain, Wes said, and Mark entered the interview room. As Mark shut the door, the older Mark looked at him and said, Let me guess, you're happy you still have your hair. How did you guess? Mark asked. What can I say? We think alike, the older Mark replied. Okay, so how are you from this universe but not an older version of me? Mark questioned. Must be true. Wisdom does come with age, the older Mark chuckled. Okay, so how? Mark sat down, bewildered. I'm apparently from an alternate timeline. Same universe, different timeline, the older Mark explained. Well, my life just got stranger, Mark said. It's gonna get weirder, the older Mark continued. About 2 years ago, 2 years from my point of view, I was talking to Arthur and got pulled out of my time and dimension. Hang on, Arthur? Artie? They lived in your timeline? Mark realised he had tears in his eyes. Yes, I heard of your loss, your team. But in my timeline, no one died. Our team lived, and the Ultra Rangers. They started a task force to protect the multiverse, and the Royal Britannia Rangers were put in charge of the Ranger Council, the older Mark shared. Mark sat there thinking. He understood meeting different versions of himself, and even children he'd never had. But an entire timeline where his team lived a life. That was next level complicated. I can't imagine how you're feeling, Mark, said the older Mark. It's okay. Go on, what happened? Mark said, wiping his eyes. As I said, I was pulled out of my dimension and time. I didn't know where I was or when. But I got into a fight right away with Zed, said the older Mark. Zed? The Lord Zed. That explains a lot. I met him, and he said I did something to him in my future. He's passed, Mark recalled. Yep, that was me, though, said the older Mark. What? Mark said. Every time, I swear. There was someone else there, but I can't remember. It's like I'm looking at a chessboard, but some of the pieces are missing, the older Mark admitted, frustration in his voice. They sat there for a moment, Mark thinking about his team, and the older Mark tried to remember everything, but he couldn't. I reckon the reason he can track us is 'cause he managed to shatter a piece of my shield. And since they're technically the same shield, older Mark explained, he can follow both of us. Of course, the question is, why hasn't he come here? Mark pondered. It was hard to find this universe, even using my own quantum signature as a guide. I even found a Merlin and asked him to use his ability, said old Mark. Because they exist in every universe and are connected, they can see what each other sees, Mark clarified. Exactly. That's how I found out about the time change and what happened to you. Then, on your last trip back, I found a trail I could follow, and boom, old Mark continued. Still doesn't explain why Zed has never come here. Like, ever. Our Zed is now an archaeologist on Cessna 3, said Mark. Well, I have a theory. However, the only way to test it is to force Zed into a fight, said Mark, finishing what old Mark was saying. They presented their plan to Wes and the others, intending to travel to another universe, lure Zed in, and then head home. Of course, you'll have the might of the Ranger Council waiting, just in case we're wrong, old Mark nodded. Okay, but what exactly do you think you're right about? Basically, I think whoever pulled me out of my timeline put some kind of protectional barrier around Universe 20 to stop Zed from attacking either me or him. Old Mark pointed at young Mark. Emerging from the portal, the two Marks surveyed the desolate world before them. What happened here? Inquired old Mark. I found a Jason here, the lone survivor of his ranger team. He used Rita's staff to create a paradise. He mentioned someone manipulating me like a chess piece, Mark explained, glancing at his older self with a sense of foreboding. It's time to suit up, declared old Mark, prompting Mark to comment. Did your Jordan always frown at your pop culture references? Old Mark chuckled, recalling a wedding speech that left both girls mortified. As they laughed, they retrieved their morphers. It's
morphin' time! As the energy surged around Mark, a red suit appeared and his morpher found its place on his belt. A gold shield materialized with the Cornish crest at its heart. A sleek black helmet with a white crossbow visor appeared on his head.
Mark noticed the battle damage on old Mark's suit and the missing piece of his shield. Why the wear and tear? Mark questioned. It's age. The morphing grid knows I'm getting old, explained old Mark. He looked down at his shattered shield. I felt it rip away. I can still sense it. He's here. A menacing figure appeared, a silver staff bearing the ominous Z emblem.
So, there really is two of you. How interesting. One who is chasing that Nethus.
Mark clenched his fist.
And one who runs from me,
Zed remarked, exposing a device on his wrist with the shattered fragments of old Mark's shield. We need to break that device. Either destroy it or reclaim my shield pieces, said old Mark, summoning his battered worn power sword, a sight not lost on Mark, who summoned his own power sword. The Red Cornish Rangers charged at Lord Zed, their swords drawn, armor clashed. Zed laughed.
Even with two of you, you are no match for the Lord Zed.
Right, then how did he beat you last time? Mark retorted, leaping over Zed's staff. Old Mark joined in with Saba, attempting to exploit Zed's vulnerability. Zed swiftly countered, blasting Old Mark aside. Mark seized the moment, rushed in, but Zed caught him, threatening Old Mark.
Make a move, and I'll snap this younger version's neck.
Locked in a knowing gaze, both Marks acted swiftly. Mark tossed the dragon dagger to Old Mark, who caught it. With dragon daggers raised, he struck Zed's arm, breaking the device and severing his hand. Zed dropped Mark in anger.
How dare you! How dare you!
Zed screamed in fury. Old Mark opened a portal as the other Marks swiftly gathered the shield pieces. They leapt through the portal, leaving Zed behind. Filled with rage, Zed attempted to pursue but was violently thrown backwards as the portal sealed shut. Back in Universe 20, both Marks, Wes and Eric, observed the spectacular Zed being flung backwards. Ouch, that's gonna sting. The dismount was impressive, but I'm deducting points for the landing, quipped Old Mark. If anything, it proves there's some kind of barrier around this universe, noted Wes. Yeah, but who put or what put it there? And are they responsible for the time change in this and every universe? Added Old Mark. Every universe? They all said, fixing their gaze on Old Mark. Yeah. As I mentioned, the Ultra Rangers led a multiverse task force. This universe became the headquarters. But with them gone, who knows what happened? Explained Old Mark. I need to head out. We won't find out what's going on by sitting here. Minnie said she had some sort of information. Want to come meet her, Mark? Asked Mark. Minnie? I used to call my daughter that, said Old Mark. She's the daughter of a version of us. Good kid, said Mark. The Old Mark had tears in his eyes. No, I think I'll head out and see if I can find out who did this. Who the chess master is, declared Old Mark, wiping his eyes. Mark chuckled. So you noticed that. That you and I mentioned chess pieces. Yeah. I don't know much about mind control, but I know a programmed response when I hear one, even from myself. Mark briefly recalled an image of a ranger resembling a chess piece, but it vanished as quick as it appeared. I'm getting them too, said Old Mark, as if he knew what Mark had glimpsed. Old Mark morphed, his shield now complete, thanks to Mark retrieving the fragments. His suit, though still slightly darker than young Mark's. See you around, Mark. Oh, one last piece of advice. You have an ultra power inside you. It's defined by you, not your team. It just helps to have friends. Old Mark shared, before activating his watch, opening a portal and disappearing. Mark turned to Wes and Eric. I better be off too. I need to look in on Minnie. She may have a lead on Nephis. Mark opened a portal and walked into it. You should have told him, Eric expressed, a hint of anger in his voice. Told him what? They need training first. They're not ready, and he's not ready. Wes deflected. No, you're not ready. Just so you know, the council and the other guards are not happy with your plans, Eric said, walking away as a technician handed Wes a report.
Guest starring in today's episode was Ty Tiger as the Lord Zed. special shout out to our Patreon supporters. Creamy Steve. If you want your name mentioned at the end of an episode, head over to patreon.com/The Red Cornish Ranger.
Dante Securus, now in his early 50s, walked through a portal and entered a forest. It was tall, dark, and dead. Before the big-built old man was an older woman known as Midori. They came from different universes, but they knew each other rather well. "Your magic is coming on well, Midori," the old man, wiser Dante, chuckled. "And you're becoming hard to find," Midori said gently. "Kinda have to when you piss off Daishi, Dr. K, Billy Cranston, Tommy Oliver, Rancic." Dante grinned. Midori's eyes glowed green as the portal behind Dante closed. Then they strolled through the tall, dead forest. "Did he turn up?" Dante asked. "Yes, he is quiet and moody as per usual," Midori replied. Both of them strolled in silence. They hadn't seen each other for many years, but no memory or conversation starter was heavy enough to cut through their determination as they walked through the trees until they came to the centre of the forest, where there a man sat at the centre, sat on a dead log, staring into the fire pit. Dante and Midori walked up to the fire and sat down, Midori waving her hand ever so gently, muttering a few words in a language long lost and forgotten. There was a green shimmer that glimmered around them, hiding them from sight. Dante looked at the man across from him. The light from the fire danced around him. He sat there, a long black cloak hung off his shoulders. It gapped open enough that Dante caught a glimpse of his ranger suit and chest shield. Scorch marks and battle damage left its mark on the suit, and the Cornish flag insignia torn and ruffled, the white cross no longer two solid lines, but instead broken by the scratches and burns. "His helmet finally broke," Midori muttered. "Yeah, that sounds about right," Dante chuckled. The man removed his hood, revealing his white slick hair and white scraggly beard. "So I bet you're wondering why I requested both you here, huh?" Dante asked. He was met with complete and utter silence. "I know how to find the land without time and space," Dante replied. Midori and the old man shared a puzzled glance. "We're going after him, the man responsible for my entire life, for Midori's entire existence, and Mark, for the rewriting of your universe, rewriting it more than once, so many times you, this version of you, is nothing but a forgotten memory," Dante stated. The old man known as Mark glared at Dante. He cleared his throat as Dante stood up and pressed his watch. It projected a holographic map which sat above the flames, and it showed the multiverse, each universe connected to the morphing grid. "It's time we go after him. It's time we find the land without time and space," Dante said with a stern tone. Both Midori and Mark stared at the map to the land without time and space, determination etched over their faces. Dante then said the 8 words that the other two were thinking. "It's time we find and kill William Cranston."